All right, this is Sean back again. It's Thursday night, 14th of August. I'm going to do a segment here called the Tale of Two Breakouts. And if you've saw my postings for the last couple of days, there were two breakouts I had put on. One was GILD, the other was a BIDU, BIDU. I put on yesterday. So just going to go over as timely as possible here, just to show a comparison of those two breakouts and what ended up happening, how I played it as well. So if you know, those of you who've read Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, greatest book ever, in there Jesse Livermore, basically story about his life and his trading. He always talks about stocks acting right after buying, new levels and whatnot. That was the most important thing to him, and there's no question that's what it's all about. Let's just go over the two setups here. This is BIDU. So what I was looking at. Going into today, we had a pattern like this here. I had this up gap in earnings, great earnings, kind of pulled in a little bit, but held a good part of the gap. Consolidated nicely here. This is like 2 weeks of trading, and tried to break out above this 220.5 area 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Couldn't really make it, came back in, but it's kind of held in really well, and it just looked like it was ready to maybe take a run at these highs here. Had a nice low volatility setup on it and everything. Just seemed like a good risk reward trade, and I still think it was, and may still develop, but it just got a little messy here today. So there's what happened today, but let's show you in the intraday time period what happened. So what I have here, this is basically a tick chart. From here on, this is today, this is yesterday here. So down here I have relative strength against the NASDAQ, and then I also have basically a volume ratio. I like to track the activity in a move to, obviously when I see lots of colors down here and these bars above this moving average means there's a lot of activity. It's a good sign for if there's a move that volume's involved. And again, I'd like to see some relative strength versus the index, and right off the bat, it's what we had in BIDU. It was, I actually cheated in. I have, this is an algorithm that I run intraday just to manage the trade, an intraday trade. Many times I just can't sit in front of my computer all day. I got other things to do. But what I did do, I actually cheated in a little bit manually. Bought some shares in here at around the 219-ish area, which is right about a break above this level. The big level here was 220.5, which got taken out, consolidated a little bit. Boom, power to higher. This is a great sign to me. This is about all. We look at it like this. This stock is doing all the right things, right? Volumes coming in. We see down here in the bottom, relative strength is there. This is a great, position as far as I'm concerned. That being said, this algorithm, the way I have it programmed, it's going to take real tight risk metrics here, and basically at this point it's selling. It has a sell order and right below these levels here, right? So now, no question, it's real tight, there's an ability to give it a little more room. I actually bought some options as well, bought some calls, sold some puts, and gave them a little bit more room. Gave those a 220. Figure that's the round number, right? But right in here, we had some pretty pretty good down volume that came in right around that 222 level. And from there it just never was able to recover, right? It just kept making the lower highs, some lower lows. Actually, like I said, gonna have real tight risk metrics. This system right here actually sold, right below there, kind of reversed. Again, the risk of having tight risk metrics is getting stopped out just like this, and then the thing reversing on you, which it did. I actually brought it back the next bar, waiting for, okay, you know what, that was a fake out move. We're going to test it down to 220. We're going to break it now, and then we're going to, try to make another run. Unfortunately, that didn't really work out. It worked out for a bar or two, and then again, I was out. Took a little more heat on this one because you know, I don't know, that's about a half a point, 3/4 of a point of pain right there. And it's very frustrating, but I've learned that, you know what, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and especially when it comes to this, and I'm not, if the move isn't easy and I have to be a genius, I shouldn't be involved, because it doesn't, I'm not going to win that game of being a genius. In this case, it just so happened it just kept on, couldn't recover, and it just got in that down funk. Got out of my options. Basically, I did have a small long-term piece, a position that I still held very small, and I was risking basically 218.5. So the low here was roughly 218.80ish, and I said, hey, I'm going to give it a little bit of room. 218.5, I'm going to give it. What was interesting, and usually I get stopped out of everything, but it did stop 218.64, which I believe is the low of the day. It actually held there. The issue though here now, the volume's gone. It's still relatively weak, as you all know. NASDAQ kind of closed on the highs. It's really not one of these things today. I'm like, you know what? It made its move. It tried. Market didn't want to see it go up, and that's how sometimes it ends up. There may be news, who knows, something may come up, hedge funds, I don't know, options expiration. Again, I'm not a genius, and unfortunately I don't have the ability to figure these things out. And then basically we came into the close here, kind of settled just under around 219.5. I actually bought a little bit more, again, a small position. I added to it right on the close, around 219.5, just to see tomorrow, because I wouldn't put it past this stock now to gap up higher and maybe go. And again, if that's the case, maybe I'll try another shot at this a little bit with a little bigger piece, but. Because I still think on the daily it's in good shape, and it's just, again, on this ultra tactical intraday basis, it's a tough trade. If it doesn't just go, I'm just not about taking pain on these things, and that was it. Unfortunately, in my book today, BIDU did not act right, and that's why I got out of the bulk of my position in this thing. Again, with that small piece I have, I'm just still going to give it 218.5 for tomorrow. If it breaks back below, I'm out totally. I'm just not playing around with that. Again, this game's about risk control, and unfortunately, when you do have tight risk metrics, there's the unfortunate. You mitigate, your big losses, but there's a potential for that whipsaw, death of 1,000 paper cuts, and that's part of the game as well. You got to sort of try to find a happy median in there. So let's go to GILD. Again, this is BIDU. So back to the daily here. I'm going to give it, to today's low, and a stock I'll liken it to potentially. It's got a very similar pattern as Twitter and Facebook, right? And they kind of been doing the same thing. They've been holding up well in here, but they just don't have the momentum to go yet. So it doesn't mean they won't. it just means that there's plenty of sellers meeting this. And actually Twitter today actually finally did make a little bit of a move, actually closed on its highs and may be starting to move here. So we got a little bit of volume here, not much, nothing crazy, but it did, definitely more than yesterday. So maybe they try to work that in, after, everyone thought this was the day in Twitter. It seems like maybe now it's starting its move. And the same type of situation may be happening in BIDU. May need another day or two. We need to get options expiration out of the way. Maybe next week and get a shot at it. But so that's BIDU. Now let's go to the other one. This is GILD. I basically mentioned this setup right in here. This is what I saw, like a nice little again setup developing real tight. What I definitely like about this a little bit more than the BIDU one was the all-time highs were much closer, right? So this is 94.34 and my buy level was right in here, 93, roughly 93 and 3/4, and it actually gapped up on this day, right? So let's go to the intraday. Again, I have my intraday algorithm trading this, but let's go in here. So okay, same sort of situation as BIDU, right? It really kind of took that level out, no pain, boom, I'm winning, right? I'm in this stock, and it's going my way, and I got the relative strength here versus the Nasdaq. I've got some volume coming in. Now all of a sudden here we get this red bar here, and same thing with BIDU, right? It starts to, leak lower, okay? Now the difference here is, okay, so I'm buying here. My algorithm then basically will have a get the fuck out of Dodge right below that buy level. So it's monitoring. I'd have that level in there. But one thing that was kind of nice with this, it just never tested that level, right? Whereas in BIDU tested that 220.50, tested 220, tested 219, just kept going lower and lower and lower. Well, this one actually stabilized quite well in here. So obviously there were people on the bid just holding in. There were definitely some sellers that came in here. I saw them all day long. They'd pump the stock back down. You could see here. Here's your relative strength, and sure enough, there was a relative weakness in here as well. So there was sellers there. It was a nice big market order to sell right on the close. I kind of pumped this thing down too. So I didn't have much hope for this going in today, but at the same point, I knew, hey, here's my risk. I'm selling below this level. That's where it is. That's where I'm getting out. So what actually happened today, again, gapped up higher and kind of held it, didn't challenge the close, and got relatively strong. Some volume came in, and then the rest is kind of history, right? It just kind of kept making higher highs, higher lows, and it closed right on the dead highs. Now, great trade. Finally today it really made that move, acted right. But it even acted right yesterday, even though it wasn't a big winner. But it acted right in this case by holding the level, especially the level that that buy level at at 93 3/4 for me anyway. But and that's key. I mean, everything's relative to where you got in, because that's where you're keeping score from. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with this one. Just like with BIDU, I still think it's got some room to run to the upside. I did sell some on the close just because I had a bit bigger position on. I figured let me take some money off the table with this, especially with the pain of BIDU today, even though that's not, the key is definitely let your winners run and cut your losses short. But but we'll see. I mean, this thing will have we'll see what it develops tomorrow. I think we had a really good week this week, and Friday, tomorrow's options expiration. So again, this is Thunderdome. Anything goes. We'll be ready to get out especially if this thing starts testing some lower levels and making you know, lower lows, lower highs, and that stuff. So again, let's tailor to breakouts and what, you know, what I want to see and what I don't like to see. Right, here's the example of what I don't like to see is levels, you know, breaking out and then sort of failing. And here's something that, hey, level getting taken out, and we're good to go. So without further ado, that's it. Thanks for watching.